First of all, I want to say thank you to all of you who patiently not only waited for another video, but for those of you who commented to me that you were wondering if I was going to make some more because you had missed videos over the past weeks, and I appreciate hearing that. The last video I made was of our trip out to Idaho to do a winter ultra event. What's happened in the meantime? Well, winter was kind of blah season. It wasn't a bad winter. We had cold and some days of horrendous winds, but overall, it hasn't been bad at all. And as you can see now, I'm sitting out in shirt sleeves. But the motivation wasn't there. I don't know if you want to call it depression. I don't know if I would call it that, but at least a lack of motivation. There was no color, that everything was just kind of going along. And when I did get outside, I really appreciated it, but just didn't have the motivation to get going and to make some videos. But the thing that kind of spurred this video on was a book that was suggested to me. It was entitled The House in the Cerulean Sea. Great book. Main character was Linus Baker, and he was, for the most part, a social worker, kind of a fantasy story, but yet a lot of good themes in it. And he did everything by the book. Everything was gray or black and white as far as just going through the motions and doing the work he needed to do until he had an assignment to go out to the house on the Cerulean Sea. The characters at that house were magnificent, but more importantly, it was what Linus was able to find out about life, about himself, and about getting color into his life. So I highly recommend it, but that's part of the basis for what I'm doing today on this video. Growing up, I remember my dad had this, I don't know, at some point, this desire to paint buildings, the outbuildings on our farmstead. And, you know, most barns and outbuildings are painted red or a darker color, possibly some white sheds, but not so for my dad. He decided he was going to paint all of these things bright colors or different colors or colors that stood out from the surrounding farms. And I didn't give it much thought. I just thought it was kind of strange. But then I think back on it, and I remember my dad telling me at one point that, yeah, he farmed and he did that, but he really didn't like it that much, but it was what he knew how to do. And so he did it. I think about that often, and I think about my own life and doing what I did. I liked what I did, but then at times it was like, well, I've got to abide by the rules and the regulations. I can't be too, outside of things because maybe my job would be in jeopardy. I remember at one point talking to a career counselor who said, Tim, you just have to kind of rein in that wanderlust spirit of yours or you're going to be in trouble. Well, maybe that spirit is part of who I am, but it's easy to abide by rules and regulations, to be kind of in the gray or black and white, or just kind of go through the motions of life. even as I've gotten into retirement. I don't know what that means. Yes, there's freedom, but yet it's like, well, I better do this right, or else what's going to happen? Well, in reading the book, or I shouldn't say reading it, I listened to the audio book about the house on the Cerulean Sea. Life is meant to be lived in colors. Not just drab, not just going through the motions. And at this stage of my life, what do I have to lose? I think about the chaos that's going on in our culture currently, or at least the political culture, and it's like, should I play it safe? And it's like, what? Go live your life, Tim. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And do you want to go through it and just say, well, I went through the motions? Or do I really want to live? Do I want color in my life? Do I want to explore? Do I want to take risks? Do I want to go out and do things and not so much just kind of be that, I don't know, blah of sitting around in winter and not going out and enjoying the challenges that present themselves? So the point of the video, granted, it's still March, and as you can see around me, there still isn't much color yet, but things are coming back, and maybe that's part of the, I don't know, part of the joy of spring. Part of spring I don't like because it's kind of slop season, but so far that hasn't been so bad. But now I'm waiting for buds, I'm waiting for color. I'm waiting for flowers to come pushing out of the ground. I'm waiting for life to come again. And that's part of nature. But for myself, I don't have to wait. I get to choose. And maybe I'm going to be like my dad and just start painting things all kinds of colors simply for the enjoyment and the vibrancy of color, of life, of enjoying each moment. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for listening and watching. Thanks for contacting me and sharing your best wishes and wonderment about what I'm doing. So hopefully videos will continue and they'll be in color.